The family electric SUV market is a very fierce market at the moment, with every brand trying to compete. There isn't nothing quite like this car though. This is the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and this has received a few updates last year to keep it ahead of its rivals like the Vauxhall Grandland Electric and the Peugeot E3008 and even the Kia EV6. The question is now, is this still worth buying and considering over its rivals? Well, let's find out. Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Cars and More. This is the #1 place to be for car news and reviews. Sit back, buckle up, let's go. So the styling of the new Hyundai Ioniq 5 facelift actually hasn't changed that much, unless you go for this model. This is the N-line version, and this would personally be the one that I would pick as it gives you the N styling for a much cheaper price. We do get this blocky design though still, with rectangular LED daytime running lights and this black bar connecting the headlights together. The lower bumper has this aggressive design with lots of gloss black cladding and silver cladding too. We also get a bit of active aero on the front, which is quite nice. Moving around to the side, and there aren't that many changes to talk about from the normal models, but on this N-line model we get some slightly wider wheel arches, as well as some sporty looking wheels which range from 19 to 20 inches in size. We also get some lower and sportier side skirts on this N-line model, and just like the previous models we get some pop-out door handles and some sharp creases which gives this car a sporty look. Moving around to the back, and we do have a few changes to talk about. Something that will make a lot of people happy now is that we get a rear wiper on all the trim levels. Yes, it is something that we didn't expect we needed, but there you go, it is now back. The tail lights and overall design is the same as before with this blocky design, which I do quite like, but on the N-line model, just like the front, we get an aggressive rear bumper design with some side vents and gloss black material. We also get a bigger and more aggressive spoiler too, which suits this car very well. To be honest though, if you didn't see this car in person, you would think that this is a small hatchback and would rival the Vauxhall Corsa, but it is much bigger than that. Anyway, let's have a look and see what battery and motor options you can have with the new Hyundai Ioniq 5 facelift. So the Hyundai Ioniq 5 facelift does receive a few updates in the battery department. Just like the Kia EV6, the battery sizes have increased. Right, let's start with the base model first. This has a single motor unit with 168 brake horsepower, and this can do 0 to 62 in 8.5 seconds, which isn't that bad. This is mated to a 63 kWh battery pack, giving this car a 273 mile range, which is actually quite livable. This model is also rear wheel drive. The next version is the long range version, and this uses a bigger 84 kWh battery pack, increasing the range to about 340 miles. Because of the bigger battery, the motor also gets an increase in performance too, and this gets increased to 226 brake horsepower, and it's still rear mounted, giving this car rear wheel drive and a 0 to 62 time of just 7.5 seconds, which is very good. The final version is the long range all wheel drive version, and as you may have guessed, this has a dual motor setup with 323 brake horsepower and giving this car all wheel drive. This has a 0 to 62 time of just 5.3 seconds, which is quite quick. The battery size is the same at 84 kWh in size, which does mean a reduction in range at 309 miles, but I can live with that for the better performance. The price of the new Hyundai Ioniq 5 facelift starts at £39,910, which isn't actually too bad, but you do have to remember that this car will come with a 5-year unlimited mile warranty, which is a very good warranty nowadays. Right, let's have a look at the interior. So, climbing inside the new Hyundai Ioniq 5 facelift, and this is where we will find most changes on this car. To start with, the dual screen setup has changed to this dark panel which suits this car much better. This also runs the later Hyundai infotainment system, which is very easy to use and also works much better than before. We also get an updated instrument cluster too, with better graphics. Lower down, the radio switches and climate control switches have changed to make them easier to use compared to the old model, which is great. What is also good is that we get a different centre console design too, with more storage and a wireless charger, as well as some more shortcut buttons. The overall changes inside were done to make the car easy to live with, and I can easily say that these changes do make it easier to live with. The steering wheel on the lower end models has been updated, and on the N-line model we get this full fat N steering wheel, minus a few N buttons that is. But it does look good and it suits the car very well. It also has quick access buttons to the drive mode, which I do like. I also like these sports pedals and Alcantara sports seats too, as they are quite comfy but supportive. Overall then, a good improvement over the pre-facelift. Right, let's have a look and see what the rear seats are like. So climbing into the back, we do get a good amount of legroom and headroom, and we also get a few creature comforts like an armrest, rear air vents and a rear sunblind, which is very rare to see on cars like this. You can also just about sit 3 people in the back too. Right, let's have a look and see what the boot is like. So opening the boot in the new Ioniq 5 facelift, and you are welcomed with 420 litres with the seats up, which isn't that bad and is the same as before. But it is slightly harder to use because of the awkward shape that most Kias and Hyundai cars have, so this isn't actually unusual. Folding the seats down however, this does increase to 1,580 litres, which again isn't that bad. Up front there is also a front boot with only 24 litres in size, which isn't the best compared to its rivals, but it is big enough for the charging cables for which it is mostly used for. So in summary then, what do I think of the new Hyundai Ioniq 5 facelift? Well, if you go for the normal models, then you won't most likely notice the changes, as it will look the same as before, which isn't a bad thing, as the Ioniq 5 was always a great looking car. The N-line does give it a sporty edge though, which I do quite like, and the interior is much better with the refinements it has received. Does it have the competitive edge over its rivals now? Well, this is a harder question to answer, as its rivals like the Skoda Elroq and other cars are so great now it is getting harder to differentiate them from each other. I would say that this does have the best looks over its rivals, but practicality wise there are better cars. I guess it just really comes down to preference. If you want an electric quirky Hyundai with a decent range, then this may be the car for you. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.